Oh yeah, guess whose car's in the shop today? That's right, it's mine! So, we got the Chrysler Town and Country 2013, and we've had this thing for about a year and a half, a little over, maybe a year and some change. And it's got the lovely 3.6 Pentastar V6, same engine that's found in the Jeep Wranglers, and it's alright. When we bought it, it was leaking like a sieve though from the oil filter housing assembly, which also has an oil cooler built into it. You'll see that when I get down into this thing, because I've got something I gotta show y'all. Let's come up here. Let's see if I left the key in the ignition. Okay, back to it. Let's fire her up and see what we got. So, runs good, but tick, tick, tick. Yep. A lot of fun sound to have, and actually quite a common issue on these Pentastar engines. So, let's take a little look deeper and see what we find. Okay, I'm playing doctor today. Here I've got my mechanic's stethoscope, and we're going to see where this noise is coming from. So, just got a metal rod on it, and hooks up to these stethoscopes in my ear, and I just tap it on things, and I can hear. I wish I had sound-o-vision that I could connect this to, but as I'm touching different things, I can hear the noise from different components. Like up here, I'm on the fuel rail. I can hear all the injectors firing. I put it on kind of this power steering line. You can hear a little bit of the whir of the power steering fluid. Up here, you can hear the whir of the electric fans. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to kind of pinpoint where that sound is coming from. So I'm over here on a valve cover bolt on the left-hand bank, and I'm just hearing kind of more of a typical noise. Let's go to the back. Ooh, yeah, quite loud back there, and if I take one ear out, it's right in time with that noise that I'm hearing. So I'm gonna go more towards the front of the valve cover and see if it gets louder. Ooh, yes, louder for sure. I'm going to go back towards the back of it, and it is definitely louder up towards the front. So what I think we're looking at is a lifter that is having issues, whether it be the roller or the actual lifter itself. Something is not doing its job. So let's dig into this and see what we got. Okay, so here I've got a couple of pieces brand new. This is the roller that I believe this is the part that has failed. And so if you look here, we've got this roller follower, and then here we have the hydraulic lash adjuster. They actually come pre-packaged in oil, so it's nice. This guy right here, you see this roller follower right here, this roller bearing, this spins. And I am pretty sure that the bearings inside of here, the needle bearings, are Kapusky's. So let's dig in and see what we find. hats off to Chrysler for making a car that the upper intake plenum comes off quite easily. Man, that is pleasant. And I've actually done it before, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. But I mean, that took me all of like maybe 10 minutes. And I mean, there's not much connected to it. You know, there's other cars where they've got like 20 intake lines and a bunch of different vacuum hoses and coolant lines that run to here and there. But this is just pretty straightforward, and I'm thankful for that. A small win for the day. So, what I need to do now is tape off this lower intake plenum to make sure I don't get no nasties down in the into the valves. There she is. Finally. Ugh, a little frustrating. It was just glued on pretty well. They used a fair amount of RTV sealant. Man, this thing is sludgy. Like I said, I've owned this car for about a year, but I mean, all this right here is sludge. The camshaft, it's pretty good. There's a little bit of sludge buildup on here and up here, but I have found the culprit, guys. I've been living with this tick-tap rattling for probably about 5 months, and I just have not had time to get to this with the Gia build and everything. But here she is. This is the culprit right here. Let me clean it off and we can examine this together better. So, all these other lifters, you can see the lifter right down there. I'll get you into a better spot. So, right here, we have the culprit. You hear all that noise? See all that play in that thing? Let's see if I can. None of the other ones do that, because the hydraulic lash adjuster, even when there's no, when the lobe is not touching the roller, it takes up all that lash, all that slack. So we got a bad, I'm pretty sure the, like I said, those bearings are failed on this. If you look closely, you can see this edge, this outside edge of this camshaft is already starting to go. None of the other ones look like that. So I think I got by just in time. I'm going to feel this thing a little more, but I'll be pulling all of these out. I'm replacing all of them, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Here inside the engine bay, we can see that I have marked the camshafts relative to the sprockets and the caps, and the chain, just to give myself a lot of options to get it back to where it used to be. I have it lined up at TDC. There's some little dots in here that helped me to figure that out. Kind of hard to see at this angle where there's just not a lot of room to show you. But now I need to use this big bad Bertha with a 36 mil socket to get the cam sprocket bolts loose. I already did this. Okay, here we go. They're torqued to about 100 and there it went. They're torqued to about 105 foot-pounds, I think. So breaking them loose before I put the now we're good. Now you can see I can spin that guy by hand. Same with this one. And we're good to go. In here we got a couple of special tools to show off. Right here we have the holder that brings the two cam sprockets and the gears and keeps them right where they need to be. You can see that on this back side, them doing their job. The other special tool I have is this one right here. It's got this little channel and it runs along a bolt that is down in here. I'll show you just as I put it in what it does. And this is what is going to release the tension from the chain. So as it goes down in here, down in there where that light is shining, you'll see the guide. And as I push this tool down and in, it makes contact with it. But I need to push it over. So, as this tool and the channel that it has rides down and in up against the timing chain guide, it pushes it down and releases the tension off of the tensioner, which in turn gives me all this nice slack in the timing chain, which I can now use to take these camshafts off and then get access to all of my rollers and my lifters. Now with slack in the chain, as we see here, and the oil control valve removed, I now will be able to pull this sprocket back off of the camshaft. As you see this little bit of play I'm getting right there, and then support the camshafts, support the timing chain and the sprockets aside from the camshafts and take them up and out and get access to all of my rollers and my lifters. So let's do that real quick. Okay, she's out. So here we have our camshaft. Got it wrapped up a little bit just to keep it safe. But here is the culprit of that noise, guys. You can see some of the wear that this guy was starting to get right in there, starting to wear the outside edge of that camshaft. And And you can see the slop that it has in it as I push this up and down. See if I can't get a better shot of that. And you can hear it too. Here is one that is old, but is still in decent shape. And you can see I'm pushing it right now and I'm not getting any of that play. It is nice and firm. So no amount of snake oil would have quieted that. The Marvel Mystery Oil, none of that kind of stuff is gonna fix this kind of a problem. Another thing to kind of note, you can see just the difference. This guy has a part number on here. I don't know if you're able to see that, but up on this top portion there is a small part number. This one does not, because it has been chewing into the edge of the cam, which is back over here. I'll get this uncovered. This back edge, you can see this back lip just has a nice little bit of lippage to it, but when we put the new ones on, they will not be contacting that area and we will be okay. So we're gonna run this camshaft because I don't want to spend $300 for one. And Motor City Mechanics, a video that you guys can look at, they do this Pentastar job. You know, refer to this as more cosmetic damage. Once it gets into the center, that's when you need to talk about camshaft replacement. So got one camshaft back in, the exhaust. Now I'm gonna plop the intake cam in, about roughly in its position where it's gonna be. And it is going needs to live about right there. And there we go. Cams are back in and positioned. Now I need to get the caps, set those on. Here you can see these all say I on them. It means they go on the intake side. So intake 4, intake 3, intake 2, and intake 1. And look, there's our mark. So we know our camshaft is back where it needs to be. And let's do the same with the exhaust. These are on the back side, but like I said, they say E. So E4, E3, E2, and E1. And boom, what would you know? Mark is still in place. Everything's all buttoned up now with the camshafts. We got all the caps torqued to spec. Everything cleaned up. It's so sludgy in here. It's a little bit better. I've got the big chunks of it out, and I'll make sure I do a lot of frequent oil changes just to kind of flush the rest of this out, along with some additives that I like that help clean up the motor. So I'm pretty pleased. Everything's in. Went fairly easy. You can see my marks are still all there. Now I need to just ease these gears, these sprockets, back onto the camshaft. And there they go. There's one. And this rear one's fighting me a little. See if I can't get it. They kind of walk on at the same time. There we go. there we have it, everyone. We have the bolts back in and torqued to spec. Have the cam phaser sprocket bolts in and torqued to 180 Newton meters. I'm sorry, 160 Newton meters. And everything is all lined up back the way it should be. So it is time to change the spark plugs back here. And I have the valve cover gasket sitting all nice and cleaned up over here with all new seals. All the spark plug tube seals, I think that's a camshaft position sensor, and these guys as well for the cam phasers. So, and a new valve cover gasket as well. So let's get this back together and fire her up and see if we got her all fixed. Okay, all back together. All the intake assembly back on, all the connectors plugged back in, or at least I hope they are. I'm now just topping off the oil. And this is in real time, guys. I have not started this thing. It is bone cold. I can prove it to you. Look. Radiator caps off. Bone cold. Guy's cold. Still haven't put the battery back on. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to take this guy off. Just set him in my oil drain. And let's put this back on. I might need another couple, maybe half a quart, but we're pretty much there. Good enough to crank her over. Cross our fingers. Probably got like 20 connectors I still haven't plugged in, but we'll see. Get the negative back on temporarily.
That's right.
And there goes Paco and Trip. Let's see if this thing fires up. I think I might prime it for a second. So, just a couple of those. Oh, that didn't sound good. Oh. I think she's a runner, guys. That initial fire up, just getting those lifters primed a little. Which it likes to do that before, but what do you think? She's a runner. Yeah. Am I puking anything? No. And guess what? The tick tick ticky is gone. Just the ticking of the injectors. So it all came down to that. One bad roller follower. Make a whole motor sound like garbage.